G'day and welcome to the channel. Today we've got a little bit of hot rod action. This is the Ford Anglia, which I think you guys in the UK call the Ford Popular. Here in Australia, Ford Anglia. So I'm doing a transition panel through the roof down into the tub. It's kind of based off the original design that was already there, but just made a little bit more hot roddy. So this is the panel here. And I'm just going to run through step by step on how I made this infill panel. Other work that I will be doing to this car as well is the rear tubs and the firewall on this as well. So this car's back in the shop. I have done some work to it before, but it was over at my mate's place at Pro Street Development, Lee his name is, and really awesome car builder, great designer. So it's nice to work with him bouncing between each other on this build because his work's on point, so I know things are going to run smoothly. And there's a pretty cool little hot rod, and he does some great custom work. So he's done a little bit of chassis modifications here on this car. He's moved the motor a bunch forward, and he's sheeted some stuff out here in this car. He's sheeted out the tunnel and the floor and things in this, so makes it a little easier for me to go and just knuckle in and get some of the stuff done. A few things I have already done on this build is the rear quarters and the tailgate. So the rear quarters had box section running along the quarters, which it was welded to it, so it sucked in everything, and the quarters weren't straight and they weren't nice at all, plus they were rusty too. So new rear quarters and the tailgate. The tailgate looks like there's a full operational working tailgate in there as the design I've done, but it's a false tailgate. It's fully welded in, so the back of this car's not really going to be used. So it'll just be reach over and put something in there if he wants to use the tray. I've done the mud guards, the rear fenders on this as well, so I've got to fit those up and get those to bolt in on this car as well. So we'll get into this build and show you how I did this transition panel. This is the part here in the back that I'm going to have to do a transition point. So come from here and here. The customer wants it to come out a little bit, so it's got a bit of a shadow line. And as you can see, that's a little higher than the rest. So we'll make something cool, make something nice to fit in there and go to original style, a little bit hot roddy. I've done a rough kind of a template of what the shape should be up here in the back of the ute. Now, this panel is going to come into the tray a little bit, just kind of where he wants that to step out a bit, so it's kind of less boxy in here. It's boxy in here anyway, but it'll come past this bit a little bit with a fold back on itself. I'm going to do it in two pieces because the stuff I got won't really shrink the amount of material that I want to shrink. So I'm going to do this in two pieces. Now I'll do this top piece and then have about a 25mm flange, and then weld another section to the bottom of that to extend it a little bit. I can get it done a little bit quicker, but my kick shrinkers that won't really shrink that amount of material, and if I do it in the thumbnail dies, I'll get a fair few marks and won't really keep it flat. I want the panel to be quite flat because it's pretty flat in there. So all right, cut this out and roughly see what it looks like to the car.
What's a man got to do to get a woman like you? What's a man got to do to touch a woman?
So I've decided I'm going to run a bead in here first, because when I turn this edge and have that flange when it's folded and comes over, I'm not going to be able to get the bead roller into where I want to go because there's a bolt that hangs out, and where I want that bead, it's not going to go there. So I'm actually going to run a bead through here on the back first before that edge gets folded over. And that'll just help me out with clearance, and I know that this part will be fine for me to do that because it is straight through the back, just with a bit of curve this way, but along this side it's straight, so it's fine for me to put that bead in prior to doing the fold. So, if you look at this panel now, that gap's gone. Just had to shrink a little bit, so this area here is where I'm going to add material, probably to about here, and fold that back so it comes back into the back of this tray. He wants it to, the owner wants it to overhang just a little bit, just for a shadow line, I suppose, have it look slightly less boxy in the back. But I'll tuck this underneath, because this angle's downhill, so I'll tip that edge probably 20 degrees, something like that, and when I do that, that'll be able to weld up underneath here nice. So before I do that, actually when I put that under, I'll mark a line of what shape this should be, and then through that line I'll mark off that line and finish off the beadwork that I wanted to achieve and get that look I'm trying to achieve here. And this is kind of pretty original to what was kind of here before, but just a little bit better. So I think it'll be good, it'll look nice, and we'll continue. Let's get this panel done. I've done the bead rolling now on this panel. I want to radius the edges, but because of the flanges and things that I've got, it's a little bit too tight for my bead roller. So I'm going to use this old socket, and use this and put that in the vise and just work around that edge, which will give me a nice little radius on these corners. Just tapping it in, working my way around, put it on the bench, work that in too as well. And yeah, so radius these little edges, and then turn this last little bit of flange here, and then put the extension on. So this will look pretty cool, but it's a nice little trick. Just an old socket can work wonders for you. This panel is done. radius the corners. I've cut out the blank and trimmed it, so I clecoed this blank to the piece so it would keep that nice arc while I scribed it all in place. Now, just got to weld this up. This is the extension piece. Weld that up to this panel, sand it back, and then do a return fold, and then that'll be it, fitted to the body. And this is how the corners turned out on the bead roller. They're the radius corners, and turns out pretty cool. Be a good little panel and covers that infill quite nicely. Alright, so that's it for this video. This panel's now done and finished. It's nothing real trickle special. This car's going to be sort of a bit of a daily kind of thing. And this is sort of based off what was originally here, but just change it up a little bit, make it a bit cooler. And next we'll be jumping into is tubs on this, which would be a pretty cool video. They're just going to be pretty basic tub, but still a few nice little things to learn from, and a couple little tricks on the way with that too. And hope you've enjoyed this video, and you tune into the next one. So cheers for coming along and having a look at the videos, and I hope you learn a few things. So looking forward to making a lot more videos. Enjoy. Cheers guys.